View from the Gutters presents Back Matter, Episode 1. Welcome to our semi-weekly discussion show. On this episode, we discuss Forever Evil number 6, some Avengers casting rumors, and the Constantine TV show. Welcome to View from the Gutters special event.
Yeah.
Hopefully a regular event. We're going to try to do this new thing where we just kind of talk about what's going on this week in the world of comics.
Yes.
You know? It'll give us a chance to kind of vent our feelings about comic books and comic book movies and stuff and what's coming out. And I'm Andrew Chard.
I am Joe Preti.
And it's just us this week, but hopefully we'll have a rotating roundtable of folks.
Yeah.
Well, no table, minus the table. We don't
Well,
use
yeah, there'll be no
tables anymore.
table, but it'll be
a round circle discussion. Of,
a circle discussion
of what's going on. So this week, Joe and I seconds ago, literally seconds ago, finished reading Forever Evil number 6.
Well, so there's a genesis to this, which is a few days ago. Forever Evil number 6 came out
on Wednesday,
and Toby from our book club show said, "Did you hear about the latest stupid DC thing?" And I got excited because I love when DC does stupid things. And basically, it's the synopsis of 6, which I'm gonna go ahead and say spoilers here and give
heavy
you a
spoilers
second.
on 6.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you a second to turn it off and go and read it before you come back.
Because don't you dare give DC any money.
Yeah, no,
torrent this shit and read it because it's at least worth laughing at.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And so so this is, you've had enough time to turn off the thing.
Yeah.
If you care about spoilers.
Plenty of time.
So pretty much Nightwing dies.
Yeah.
Which is something that the DO has been trying to get
We've
done
seen it
for a while.
hinted at a lot of times.
Yeah, because, Dan DiDio hates good things, right?
Well,
he hates interesting things.
You can change up the universe really easily. Like, it's a great excuse of a lazy editor
Yeah.
and a lazy writer to be like, oh, the easiest way to change up the universe is just not to make a significant change in that character's life, but to just kill them.
Just kill them, right? Because that's sensationalist.
It's the kind of complaints that I saw when they killed Blue Beetle, when they killed Ted Korg.
Yeah.
It was like the same kind of complaints, you know, where it's just like, oh, you make Ted Korg really interesting because he is an interesting character.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
You just kill him.
And
that's how you're going to make him interesting. Like, that's just lazy. It's bad.
So me and Chard were talking about this and how fucking ridiculous it is. And Chard's like, well, let's do something. Let's talk about the news.
Like,
and
you have to read it.
We can read Forever Evil, and we
Yeah.
can talk about it. And we can talk about the news. So I was like, despite my better judgment, I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we did it tonight.
Yeah.
And woo, doggy. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. What a steaming pile Forever Evil is. Okay, and I'm going to say this. I will always defend Jeff Johns on the audio show. You've heard it a million times. Like, I know that Jeff Johns can write a good story. I know that somewhere in there lies a good writer because I really enjoyed some of the early stuff that he was doing at DC. I loved his JSA run. I loved his Teen Titans run. Like, and Green Lantern Rebirth, I think, is fantastic. Like, he was able to tell a very complicated, very mired in continuity story and tell it well. Like, I think there are times when Jeff Johns has been really good. This is not one of those times. This is a steaming pile. Like, everything about this book. Okay, I don't want to say everything about this book because there were a couple moments when I would turn the page and go, yeah, but like those were few and far between.
Well, and this is definitely, like, I swear to God, this is the third Jeff Johns event I've read. And I can say that about all of them. Like, in Infinite Crisis, there are a few things where I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty... There's a moment in Infinite Crisis. I didn't get to say this on the radio show because we were too busy screaming at each other.
Show? Are we on the radio now?
Not the radio show. We're on the radio now. It's 1920. What will Superman do next, kids? Tune in next week to find out.
That was him flying.
I didn't get to say this on our episode about Infinite Crisis because we were too busy screaming at each other. But
busy yelling at me.
Like, there's moments in that book that are really cool. There's a moment when the Speedsters attack Superboy Prime, and like he's using his laser vision, and somebody takes Johnny Quick's hat off and uses it to deflect him.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not how that works, but that's a cool idea. Like, right? Blackest Night is filled with moments where you're like, this is really cool.
Well,
there's a great moment between Johnny and Jesse Quick where Johnny Quick has come back as a Black Lantern, and they're running, and Jesse Quick is kind of dealing with the death of her father and thinking about how great it was to run with him.
Yeah.
And then she just puts on the speed and he can't fucking keep up and he disintegrates. And it's the moment she like lets him go.
Yeah.
Great moment, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Fucking totally overdone by the shit.
The moment with Hawkgirl and Hawkman right at the beginning of that book where she's like, I guess I can finally admit that I love you, even though I know that it'll cause us to die. And then immediately after that, they die.
They die.
Like,
yeah, that's...
like, even that, I was like, yeah, that's kind of, it's an easy, quick thrill, and you killed them using characters that we have, like, a lot of emotion for.
Right.
Ralph and Sue Dibney, and it's like, easy, but... It still creeped me out. Like, it was still a good moment. It was, like, creepy, and, like, I liked it.
The moment for me, I didn't care too much for that moment, although I'll say that that's probably, I'm not going to say that that's one way or another, but the moment for me is when Firestorm fridges his girlfriend. That's fucking awful, because, he's like, the evil Firestorm is pretty much taken over the new Firestorm. Mm-hmm. The Black Lantern, like the Robbie, whatever his name is.
I don't remember.
And he's like, try not to think of things. And then he turns her into salt. And I'm like, that's fucking like, that's pretty awful. Like, that's an awful thing. And
There's cool
everything about
there.
that is set up really well. Like, the panel structure is set up to feel really claustrophobic. So you're like, okay, Jeff Johns.
Well, you skipped the best event that he wrote, too, which was Sinestro Corps War. In between Infinite Crisis and Blackest Night, he wrote an event called Sinestro Corps War.
Which I haven't...
No, it was underground. Like, nobody was really... The big event at the time was this other event that was going on, which I can't remember what that was right now.
Well, I think there... Wasn't it going on during the same time as Countdown and stuff like that?
Oh, Final Crisis was happening at the same time. So,
right.
like, Final Crisis was going on, and everybody was, like, really hyping Final Crisis and talking about Final Crisis. No, it wasn't even Final Crisis. It was between those. I guess it was Countdown. It must have been Countdown. Like, some event was happening that was big but wasn't good, and the underground sleeper hit was Sinestro Corps,
which I haven't read, but I hear,
I hear good things about. Good. It's fantastic. I think it's one of the best things that Jeff has ever written.
Right.
Like, ever, maybe. Like, it's really solid. Like, it just, like, highlights the Green Lantern so well, and he sets up Sinestro to just be the creepiest, most awesome villain ever.
Right.
And, like, a lot of my love... Like, almost none of my love of Sinestro comes from pre-Crisis on Infinite Earth Sinestro. It all comes from Jeff Johns writing the Green Lantern Sinestro.
Right.
Like, that's where I fell in love with the character. So, like, I know he can write good stuff.
Right.
Which is why this book is aggravating, because it's just... What is he doing with Lex Luthor? Like, what is happening there?
This is the whole problem, right? Is that... And when it comes down to Jeff Johns, we talk about this a little bit with Mark Millar, but I think at the end of the day, like, Mark Millar is doing a very specific thing, which why I don't like plenty of other people.
Well, you don't like a specific thing that Mark Millar does, which is like over the top,
which
gratuitous
is this over the top gratuitous violence, but it's
which
not
he
so
doesn't
much that
do so much anymore.
Right? It's and he does this a lot in like Wanted and stuff, where he like. He never builds up to a moment, so he's trying to get these moments that he doesn't earn. I think
he's a lot better about that now,
and I hear that he's doing a lot better now. But Jeff Johns, I think, is the much more egregious offender, because it really feels like he goes, "This would be a really cool moment," rather than going, "This will lead to this really cool moment."
Yeah,
it's like he builds the plot around the moments that he has, and so they feel hollow and false and then he's obsessed with these facets of the characters he uses in completely fucking stupid way. I'm sorry, they're stupid ways. Like, he spends the whole time he's setting this whole thing up for and I think we'll put a spoiler tag on the beginning of this episode.
Oh, we definitely will, yeah.
But he spends this whole thing talking about, like, he's clearly setting Luthor up to join the Justice League. Like, it becomes pretty clear that that's what's going on. But then he opens the book with Luthor talking to Thomas Chard of Chard Industries, and he's like, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to turn your
whole family.
I'm going to turn your son into a drug addict, and then I'm going to introduce a man to your wife who will leave her on the day that you're fucking like you'll die, and your son will be a drug addict, and your wife will meet a wonderful man that'll leave her on the day her son dies." I'm like, really, Lex?
Yeah.
Can you say needlessly fucking complex?
Overkill.
Like, seriously. And while I appreciate the fact he's not like, I'm going to send a man to your wife, and have her raped and stuff.
No. I actually really liked his ideas. It was just like you could have just threatened him with death.
Yeah, it's like seriously.
Unnecessary to be like, also, I'm going to just destroy your family. You first get to open with, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, well, I'm not afraid of death. Then you introduce more stuff.
Well, yeah.
He's like, obviously he's afraid of death. He's just a guy.
Right. And the thing is like, I don't think Lex doesn't he would never come out and say that. He would say things like
that he's threatening the guy. Like he's a villain. Like it's cool to see him.
I like that he's threatening him, but I don't like the out and out way that he's like. Lex is very.
He's monologuing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's very 60s Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
it's not like Lex looking out of the helicopter and going, this helicopter is capable of achieving a height of blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what falling out of a helicopter at that height would do to a human body? It would be very bad. Something that, where he just kind of
I did like at the beginning where he's like, well, we might not make it down out of this crash. And he's like, oh, yeah, accidents do happen, Mr. Luthor. Like, the pilot says that. I was like, that's a good threat.
Yeah, that absolutely
was a good threat.
Good. But then he kind of goes up, and I feel
it was way
overkill. It's overly complicated. But then he's at the same fucking time, he's trying to, make Lex Luthor this, sympathetic character.
Johns is writing Luthor, very bipolar and within this book.
And it's fucking ridiculous.
It's really weird.
You want Luthor, fucking have Luthor be Luthor. Don't have him be I saved a kitten once.
And that scream, and then he throws the kitten in the river. But
but then he jumps in and saves it. Like he mentions
really?
that. He's
God.
I never should have jumped in and saved it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You had a good story when he threw the cat into the river. That's a very Lex Luthor thing to do.
It's just, it feels weird, and it screams of editorial mandate. It screams of them being like, hey, try to make Lex, try to make him more likable, but also make him kill a lot of people in this book. And you're how? No, editorial. You get to edit my book. You don't get to be the writer.
I feel like Johns and I think with Infinite Crisis, that was definitely more of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
I can see Johns sitting on that and going, let's do this. Yeah. And then the rest of editorial going, yeah, that's good. That's good.
I feel so out of place in this book because you need Luthor to be a villain in this story.
Yeah, you need him.
You need him to be a villain in this story because I actually really like the idea of this story a lot, actually, which is what's sad is Forever Evil is a really cool facet of the New 52, which is in the New 52, obviously spoilers, but Doomsday, or Darkseid, not Doomsday. Darkseid is this multi-dimensional, he's like a dimension-hopping world destroyer. And I really like that idea for Darkseid. He's just harvesting these worlds and just chewing them up. And in these stories, we get to see that more than we ever did pre-New 52.
Yeah.
We get to see him kill Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman on Earth 2. We find out that Earth 3 was destroyed by Darkseid.
We find that out.
We find that in Forever Evil. And in the very first Justice League story, they set up the fact that, the whole reason there is a Justice League is because Darkseid showed up.
Right.
I like that. I like that the whole New 52 is unified around this idea that Darkseid is this great evil that they're fighting.
Right.
And so there are really cool elements of this story. I like that the Syndicate of Evil shows up and is like, hey, we're going to do what you guys never could, and we're going to assemble all the villains, kind of Villains United style,
right,
and go take out the universe. And I like the conflict between the people in the Crime Syndicate. I like the conflict between Owlman and Ultraman, but unfortunately, I feel like there are other writers who have done it better.
Well, absolutely.
John's Earth 2 or Grant Morrison's Earth 2 series, where they're anti-dimensional rather than from another Earth, because there is no multiverse at that point. That Earth 2 story is fantastic.
Right.
It's really, really good. And a lot of the elements of that are reused in this.
Right.
Not as interestingly.
Well, and I think
he's not pulling it off as well. And, well, go ahead. I know it was a...
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, I don't necessarily know that this would be my kind of story, but I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. And
it's a cool conflict.
Yeah, like, I mean, I like how you have the crime syndicate kind of at this counterbalance, but I think it's Jeff Johns shoots himself in the foot right off the bat by kind of having this bipolar Luthor, and not because what this story needs is a Lex Luthor that is calculating, that is fucking cold, ice fucking cold, and that is willing to fucking do what needs to be done.
And we saw that Luthor in Villains United.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
is basically
exactly,
this
right?
story.
And in 52, where he's like, fuck this shit, right?
Yeah.
And that's the Luthor we need, not the Luthor that's like, there's a hero inside.
Well,
like,
his relationship with
misunderstood.
Bizarro is like really interesting, and like I like that idea, but it doesn't fit in this story because this story needs a cruel Luthor.
Yeah, exactly.
I also like the Bizarro origin story in this as a New 52 story because it's like, it's an alternate Bizarro origin, but it's a really interesting Bizarro
and I mean
origin.
that's
I actually like Bizarro in this. It's weird that he doesn't do his Bizarro talk, his like backwards, but that is such a product of the Bronze Age to me that I'm okay that it's not there.
With it not being there because I think it's kind of
it gets confusing.
Like
Bizarro loves Superman. It's like, what?
Yeah,
you do? Oh wait, no, you mean you hate him. Like, I'm confused. What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Bizarro helps Superman.
The only time I've seen it be used and have it be interesting at all is in Emperor Joker. Like, I really like that story.
There's that story in All-Star Superman.
Oh, that's also true. Yes.
Bizarro. Like, it sometimes it works really well.
Yeah.
But in a New 52 universe where you're like cleaning the slate and making things more approachable to new readers, I think it's really smart to have him not do Bizarro talk.
Even though the whole clone of Superman thing has always been like it's a razor's edge thing where it's like you're gonna have to work to make that. I just read an issue of
Batman Beyond where there's like multiple clones of someone, and I was like, God, the DC universe cannot get away from cloning.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But, so basically, the story suffers, and it suffers a lot because, and I think really it is editorial because it's this idea of not like, hey, let's tell this interesting story. Let's tell this cool story. It's, hey, let's have a big event that's going on that we can tie in with all our other titles and sell a shit ton of books
they do
to make a shit ton of money.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's sad to me because I don't think those things are mutually exclusive.
I don't either. We talked about this on the Infinite Crisis show. Is like, should we not have events anymore if they're just going to be money grabs? And it was like, no, I think you can do both. Like, I think you can tell an interesting story and make a lot of money doing it. Mm-hmm. But you can't go in with money being your initial like motivating force. You don't need to be like, hey, every summer let's have an event. You need to use it when it fits into your universe well. Yeah. And something that I often think about is when you go back to post Crisis on Infinite Earths, there weren't events.
No.
That wasn't really a thing.
No.
And so these books had a lot of time to build on their own before the universe started to cross over with itself. But right out of the gate, in the New 52, they wanted to start doing events because they sell a lot of books.
Oh, absolutely.
And it really muddied the waters in that universe. Mm-hmm. And so I think New 52 suffers because of events like
absolutely. I mean, it suffers from a lot, but that's definitely one of the big things.
Yeah, I think it's like it would have been cool to have seen like 2-3 years of Flash books before Flash has to show up in an event. Yeah. Or like, give me some time to get attached to these characters because they're different than the characters that I used to know.
Absolutely. Well, and go out of your way to tell some new stories.
Oh, well, it's
right. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. If the problem with the New 52, the primary problem in my estimation has always been, and it will continue to be the primary problem, is that DC never fully embraced it.
Right.
They wanted to fucking have their cake and eat it too. So you're like, oh, well, this is a story about, Superman, but we're going to keep some of Superman's origin, and like Batman's going to keep most of his, and Green Lantern's going to keep. It's like, no, man, you fucking specifically said when you did this that this was opening up the world to new readers. Mm-hmm. Then do it.
Oh, yeah.
Then do it. Get rid of it all. Start from scratch. Give us a new generation of
even
comics.
If you don't start from complete scratch, you start from a point in which it's like, okay, we know Superman's origin. We know Batman's origin.
Yeah.
Like, they're already going to be Batman and Superman. We can go back and tell their origin again later, but like at this point, we don't need that. We can just start with the Batman and Superman story.
Or you could even give us a new Superman, a new Batman.
And then I think that may be too much to ask of DC.
No, I absolutely agree.
I would have loved to have seen that too, but even post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, you gave us some new heroes that were totally new people, like the new Dr. Light, the new Flash, the new Wildcat. There were like some of those stuck and some of them didn't.
Yeah.
But you kept your core guys the same, and that's fine. But New 52 could have done the same thing. But I agree with that. I still think the biggest problem is that they undid their legacy and they undid the idea of legacy in the universe.
I think that falls a close second.
That's fine. I mean, if you were going to go back all the way and you were going to go, we're going to tell one book where it's Batman at the very beginning of his career, so he has no Robins. And we're going to tell another Batman story where it's like a few years later in his career and Dick Grayson is Robin. And those are the two Batman stories we're going to tell in the same way that you did Action Comics and Superman. Like, I would have been a lot more interested in the universe, but like 5 years in, he's got 4 Robins and like everything is just like so complicated.
You have Batman being about Bruce Wayne doing his thing at some unspecified time in his timeline, and then you have Detective Comics instead of the fucking pile of shit that it was, which we're going to talk about David Finch's art and how shitty it is. I'm sorry. The man fucking cannot write.
Yeah, it's David Finch, right?
Is that the name? Yeah. And he was also writing Detective Comics and also penciling. And that was like easily the worst of the Batman books, if you don't count Catwoman, which was one of the worst of the New 52, which I think is saying something. But have fucking Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne be Batman and Robin. And don't fucking tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Leave that for later.
Yeah.
Because that will make fucking people read. There was a comment. Toby wrote a blog post for the website, which you should go and read because it's fucking great, about why your favorite character should be dead. And
well, not why your favorite character should be dead, but why characters shouldn't come back from being dead.
Exactly. And some fucking wise ass on Reddit was like, well, what if that character's a douchebag? It could drive readers away. And I'm like,
who cares? Like
Wally West was a fucking douche for the first at least 2 years of his Flash run.
Yeah.
But when he became a hero, that made it so much more satisfying, is watching him become not just the man that Barry would be proud of, but his own man and his own hero.
But the thing is, though, that argument of, oh, well, what if it loses you readers, like, is essentially a bullshit argument at this point, because we have fucking 0 readers in the comic book industry. It's like, hey, they're afraid to lose the 10 readers they have.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to get 20 new readers, they're just going to fucking milk those 10 readers, and they're going to fucking twist their goddamn nuts off until we have all their money, and then they die, and then what happened to the comic book industry?
There's nobody there.
There's no one left.
Because you may lose 10 of the fucking dinosaurs that are reading, but you would gain 30 new people that were going, whoa, wait a minute. I can, like, Batman started all over? Fuck yeah, man.
You and I fucking grew up on Wally West. I mean, like, we didn't grow up on it, but, like, that was our Flash.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And to us, it's like, well, why the fuck Barry Allen?
Yeah, right? Because you took a big step back.
Carmine Infantino has famously said they should have never killed Barry. And that's great. That's his creation. Like, he is one of the only people in the universe that should ever be able to say that. Because it's like, yeah, Carmine, that's your fucking dude. Like, of course you should be mad that they killed your character.
Yeah.
But everybody else in the world should go, all right, well, who takes over the Flash next? And they should be excited about that. Like, that kind of excitement is what the New 52 brought for me at the very beginning, because it was like clean slate. And I was like, thank fucking God.
Absolutely. And to be perfectly honest, I'm Carmine Infantino. I'm like, wow, you sent my character off right.
Yeah.
Because know what? The problem with Barry Allen is that Barry Allen is boring. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry he's boring.
I mean, it was a different era.
It was a different era, and that's fine. But, like, you could do that back then because people weren't really.
It was a totally different era.
And it, I guess people didn't really expect. It was diversion, right? It was fun diversion, and people didn't really expect character development.
Well, it was also all about the one and done story.
Yeah,
and that leaves you a lot less room for character development.
Yeah, and like maybe every once in a while there'd be a story that was finished in like another issue somewhere, because like maybe Batman would come to Metropolis looking for whoever. But I mean,
all that aside, we need to talk about David Finch's art.
We need to talk
because we talk often about like New 52 reminds us of fucking 90s Image
Everything
and 90s Marvel.
about,
and we're like, why is this so shit? Like, why do they want to recapture what a lot of people consider the worst era in comics?
Yeah.
Why people called the modern age the Dark Age? It was because everything was overly grim, dark, and gritty.
Yeah.
And what is the New 52? It's overly grim, dark, and gritty. DC fucking loves the idea of the 90s because they're like, oh, 90s books sold like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the content, DC. It was the fact that there was a goddamn collector's boom. Are you idiotic?
Yeah, which almost destroyed the fucking superhero industry.
However, this guy got his start. David Finch got his fucking start drawing comics. And it was 1994. It was Cyberforce. You want to talk about obscure bullshit-ass titles?
Oh, my God. Cyberforce. Fuck. Can we just never mention Cyberforce again, please?
I don't want to mention it either, except that they went and they were like, who was a really good artist in the 90s? That's DC's recruiting policy. Mm-hmm. And why Marvel is fucking killing it right now is because they're going out and getting like new, interesting, young artists. And it's why Image is able to fucking destroy everything. And you have guys coming into this industry like Chard Moore, who's going to draw Ghost Rider, who's like 23, 24 years old. Like he's younger than both of us. And like, that's the kind of talent you need in this comic book industry, not guys that are fucking dinosaurs, not editors that were editors 20 years ago.
Yeah, like absolutely. I mean, it's taken a huge step back in every way, including the talent they brought on, which is just it's just unbelievable. But it's unbelievable to me.
Absolutely. One thing I want to talk about David Finch's art is you can really notice it in this art, and a lot of modern artists are getting really smart and noticing that colorist and color can really like add so much to your book. Like it's all about the color, and their pencils are still fantastic. Like there are definitely young artists who have fantastic pencils, but one thing that they're doing is they're leaving a lot of the shadows away. They're taking all the shadows away, and they're creating a light source in the room, but they're not like heavily shading their characters anymore.
Yeah.
And something that David Finch does so much in this book is there's fucking shadows on all of their faces, just like everything was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not how modern comics work anymore.
Right.
And it looks ridiculous on the page. So, like, it just looks absurd.
It looks awful. So, I'm sorry, it's not, it wasn't, Batman. It was Batman the Dark Knight that David Finch was working on. It was not Detective Comics. Detective Comics was Tony Daniel.
Oh.
Which was also shit.
Yeah, its story just was not very...
It was not very good. But, so I'll make that connection. But...
good catch.
Yeah, it was nagging me because I was like...
I could see it in behind your eyes.
Yeah, but, I think when you look at... I think one of the things that kind of floors me is that now, like 25 years after the founding of Image, they're getting to a place where they're doing what they wanted to do originally.
Yeah.
Which is to get out from the stagnant pool that was the big two.
Oh, yeah.
And do creator-owned shit. And for all of that kind of, not really hatred, but apathy I have for books like Spawn, which started strong but didn't go anywhere because Todd McFarlane is Todd McFarlane. Wildcats, Stormwatch, which would become fucking The Authority.
Right. X-Men,
and a couple other X-Men titles. You know, and for people like Silvestri and Rob Liefeld and...
a lot of guys that are actually not that great of artists, but were huge at the time.
I mean, and I have to say this, and I'll always fucking believe this, they left cushy, like paying jobs at one of the big two to go and start their own studios at a time when, you know, like they did that. They found Image, and then the fucking comic industry went into the fucking toilet.
Oh, and
some of the only books that were selling was theirs.
And thank fucking God that Eric Larson was around to keep that company together, because
Absolutely.
that guy is a genius of business.
Savage
Dragon was great, but he was the editor-in-chief of Image through like all of the hard times in comics, and like he really kept that ship afloat, and we would not have anything Image right now if it weren't for Eric Larson.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So
Image is fucking killing it right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like most of my favorite, the best superhero comic in the world right now is coming out from Image, which is Invincible.
It's clearly Action Comics.
I want to die inside.
But this leads really nicely. The fact that DC has fucked up the New 52 reads really nicely into some of the news stories.
Oh, yeah.
One in particular of the news stories I found that I thought was really interesting because I was looking at this. Brian Keene, who's done some writing for Marvel Max and some other DC stuff and Antarctic Press stuff, gave his pitch about Booster Gold series. Yeah. And this was fucking like, I read this. This would have been really cool. It would have been about, basically, the problem with Booster Gold is that the New 52 has no history. And so Keene envisioned a Booster Gold that was kind of like zipping around in time, maybe because of something Rip Hunter had done. And every time he jumped, he would lose a piece of his memory. So you would kind of be discovering the timeline of the New 52 as he was. And like, there's shit like with him going back to prehistoric times of the DCU and Skeets getting attacked by T-Rex, hanging out with Kamandi, you know, like hanging out with the Viking Prince. And that's like, that sounds like a really amazing fucking title to me. That would really give you a timeline and an idea of what was going on.
We've also got the all-Western tales at the DC in the New 52, which I'm not sure if that's gotten canceled yet
I'm not. If it hasn't, it's going to be.
But it's got those characters that he could have easily crossed over
Absolutely,
with. It's got, you could go back and be like, hey, where did Damian come from? And why did that happen before Bruce was Batman? And like all this other stuff.
Which
doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense.
But it gives you a really convenient vehicle to go and tidy up the universe a little bit. And that's like what a character like Booster Gold is awesome at.
Yeah, exactly.
And a universe like DC that has literally fucking page after page after page of interesting characters to explore. Like they have a depth of DC Universe, the previous universe, that those characters could be introduced via Booster Gold.
Absolutely.
Like, they have not yet come into their own in this universe, but like, you know,
but
there are some characters in the universe that I'm like, well, do they exist in the New 52?
Yeah,
and this would be are they even around? And this would be a cool way to explore that.
Absolutely.
When did Amanda Waller start taking Slim Fast? Like, when did that happen? Like, Booster Gold.
Can we never bring that up again, please?
Where did she get all that South American plastic surgery?
Yeah, right? But of course, DC shut it down because
it's creative,
it's not
and
bland and stupid. So you know, they probably want to turn Booster Gold into a blonde bimbo wearing a G-string and a tiny little, you know.
Oh yeah,
it's basically.
Remember all those like was it Wizard magazine swimsuit?
Yeah, no, it was Marvel. It was Marvel that put out the swimsuit issue.
I thought it was Wizard magazine.
Wizard did a bunch of shit, but no, it was the Marvels because. You have the picture of Namor wearing like the.
I thought that was in
Namor
Wizard.
gym string. No, that was Marvel actually put that out.
All right,
Marvel
actually
put that out.
But there was always like a Gen 13 swimsuit. Anyway, in the 90s, everyone had fucking swimsuit issues of comics.
Clearly, because
it takes me back to like nightmare times of my childhood when you would just walk into a minefield of comics.
Somebody recently posted a picture. It was a picture of the Punisher, and he's just wearing like a banana hammock with the skull on it, and it's like a G-string. And I'm like, you know, kudos to Marvels in the 90s being equal opportunity, like, and having the big, like, two-page spread, but Punisher junk. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, like, what
Punisher junk.
what was everyone thinking in the 90s is what I would like to know. I was too young to ask anyone.
It was a scary time.
I was barely alive in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a good time.
It was not a good time. We complain about a lot of comics on the show, but we are living in a fucking golden age of comics right now.
Yeah, I mean,
we are so close to comics being like so much more than they are right now. And if DC fails to make the superheroes relatable and interesting, we could easily have the situation that we had post 1950s America, where the superheroes just kind of fall off. And aren't the main selling books anymore. I guess it was really like post 40s.
Well, during World War II, fucking like 110 million people were reading comic books.
Oh, yeah.
During World War II.
But they weren't all reading superhero comics. Like, there was Westerns and there were romance. The Marvel romance was outselling the X-Men for a while.
Well, that was, yeah.
That's
because
later,
Marvel
though,
didn't, or the X-Men, a lot of people don't know this, but the X-Men didn't become popular. It was almost canceled.
It was canceled.
It was canceled several times. It didn't become popular until 20 years after it started.
Well, it got canceled after the Neil Adams run, and then they printed a lot of reprints, and then it came back with giant size.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took it a while to become what it is now, but that was because superhero comics were in such a decline. And so maybe we'll have that in the future because, to be honest, almost everything that isn't a superhero book is really interesting and awesome right now.
There's a lot going on.
Quick mention, East of West number 10 is coming out this week. Joe, you have to get caught up on that book.
Need to catch up, yes.
East of West is fucking fantastic.
I've been reading a lot of shit lately, and I'm currently reading Elf Quest for our long run. Yeah. And, which keeps,
we're recording next week, so keep reading that.
It's surprising me. I keep expecting it to be bad, and it keeps being really fucking
interesting. Good. We'll talk about it on the long run. We're going to record that in the upcoming week, so we should get it out to you either before we record the next episode of this or right after we record the next episode of this. Somewhere in there. It depends on when I edit stuff. But yeah. So if you're playing along with the long run, read that ElfQuest. It's all free online.
Yeah, it is. And it's not too bad. The reader they use is really nice because normally it works. A reader...
It doesn't work on the iPad, but it does work on all computers, and it's totally free, which is awesome to see a company giving away so much free stuff. I like it that Comixology is giving away a lot of the first issue for free on stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and they gave away Lock and Key today, which I picked up. And but they it would be cool to see more companies give away more of their early stuff. Yeah. Especially companies like DC and Marvel.
No, that would be amazing.
Would be amazing. They don't really need money from stuff they printed 50 years ago.
You know what? I would pay $50 to have a lifetime subscription to the Marvel archives.
Well, do you remember when they were doing those DVDs and you could buy the DVD of like every X-Men comic ever printed for like $60? And at the time we were like, that seems kind of high, but it was also like an awesome deal. Like I had the Ultimate X-Men one that had like Ultimate X-Men 1 through 60 or 1 through 70 that I got for $10.
Yeah, that's not
70 bad. Issues of a comic for $10 of like a current ongoing comic.
Yeah,
that was insane.
Excellent.
That was like their first attempt at digital comics back in the day.
They should continue in that vein.
Oh yeah, well,
Speaking of prices, Marvel is.
Oh, they're jumping prices. They're always adjusting prices on stuff.
They're always adjusting. The next issue, starting with issue, I think 11 of Superior Foes of Spider-Man, which we reviewed
love.
And we really like, will be $3.99. So I'm not sure. I mean, this is probably a good thing because it's selling.
Yeah, that's what I think it means to me.
But
with the first trade having just come out, they are banking on the fact that they're picking up a lot of new readership, which they probably actually are, because the word of mouth on this book has been like huge.
Really good.
Like, I've been talking about it a ton, but
like I've been seeing it
from a lot of places that people are like really finally catching on to how crazy innovative and awesome this book is, and how like it really flushes out the Marvel universe. So, and for me, it's a downside because it's like, oh, it hurts my wallet, not being able to pick the books up. But it's like, I guess it means that it's succeeding. Yeah, which means that there will be more books like this at Marvel, which I think is a good thing. So it's a sign of good things, but it's kind of like a shitty thing.
Well, and I've heard nothing but good things about the new Black Widow, She-Hulk #1, Warren Ellis's Moon Knight #1,
which was awesome. That was my top of the stack this week. That Miss Marvel behind you that's on the wall, is that a $3.99 or a $2.99? It's a $2.99. Okay, yeah. So Marvel's been really smart about starting series off at $2.99 and like letting people get in on the ground floor on
which I think is good.
I think it's super smart.
Although I'd like to see it at a $1.99 price point going up to $2.99, but that's a little.
I'm still hoping for the day that digital comics, like after a couple weeks of release, will jump down to $1.
Yeah, we need the 99-cent price point.
What's so cool, and what Marvel's competing with at that point, like. The first couple weeks and even the first month that a book comes out, before issue 2 comes out, what they're competing with is the comic book stores. So I can understand them not wanting to undercut comic book stores and be like, hey, it's a buck. That's their bread and butter. Those are their longtime fans. It's kind of shitty to do. But I would like to see them go to, even if it's after like the third or fourth issue, so that they've got like people consistently picking up the books at stores, like drop it down to $1, because now you're not competing with the primary market anymore. You're competing with the secondary market, and you're competing with torrents.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
At $1, you're very much competing with, hey, I read this book and then I'm done with it because I don't collect comics, which is really common now, and I'm going to resell it. You know, you'll go on to like Things from Another World, the website, like a week after a comic comes out, and you can get them for half price.
Right.
You can get them for $1.50 for the physical copy.
Yeah.
Like, how are you competing with that with your $3.99 digital book?
And you're
like,
not.
that's
You're
ridiculous.
Not
So
that is ridiculous.
I don't know. Some Marvel pricing there. We did get some casting news on Age of Ultron this week.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Would you want to do yours first, and then I'll do mine?
It's well, so Claudia Kim has just been signed to be in Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, and so the question now is, who will she play?
Yeah. Who do you think, Joe?
I don't know. I think maybe
there's so many Marvel characters that could be.
Well, so the thing is this: we're still kind of we haven't seen a Wasp yet.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's
actually a really
rumor,
good one.
There's a rumor floating around though that it's going to be Rashida Jones. I would love to see, because I love Rashida Jones.
She's fucking fantastic.
And
actress.
I think she'd be great with Paul Rudd. But
oh yeah, definitely.
So we're not. I don't think her necessarily. I think they're probably going to go with a bigger name for the Wasp.
Yeah, I could see that too.
So
I think she's probably going to play Ultron. I mean, that's all totally. That makes sense to me.
I think that yes.
Yeah, probably.
I would go to see a movie in which Ultron was a small Asian woman.
Well, I think that it would be really interesting, because we know that we're going to have another wave of Marvel movies coming out after this, to use Avengers to kind of like springboard into one of those other movies, kind of like they did for Avengers into into Iron Man 3. Like with Tony Stark's like problems in Iron Man 3 are really stemmed from the Avengers movie, like his psychological problems anyway. I think it would be cool to kind of set up a villain in 3 that's going to go into one of those others. So like we might get a Black Widow movie. Maybe this will be a Black Widow villain.
Yeah,
like we might get a Hawkeye movie. Like maybe a Hawkeye villain. But there's also some characters related to those characters that would be like really interesting to see.
Yeah.
We know the other casting news was the head of Hydra got cast this week. It's I'm looking it up right now. But they're basically, what that says to me is that Hydra is going to be in Ultron, even if just a background character. So where's Madam? I mean, this guy's going to be the head of it, but where's Madam Hydra?
Right.
You know, and that would be cool.
I definitely think that there's some interesting things that could go on. She is not, so speculation is rampant.
Yeah, so Baron Strucker is going to be played by Thomas Kretschmann, Dracula star Thomas Kretschmann. I don't know this guy. He's a guy I don't know, but he's going to be playing the Baron Strucker, head of Hydra.
Which should be interesting.
So he, I don't know. Some speculation online was hinting that he could, because he signed a multi-movie deal, like that he's going to be in some of these other movies. So that'd be cool too. And Hydra's always been one of my favorite parts of Marvel, because you need like a crazy radical, semi-religious.
They're great.
But
although AIM, I think, is my favorite.
Well, because you love science.
Yeah.
You're a science guy, and I love like magic and mysticism like a lot.
Totally.
Like, this is why I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
like I love this like weird semi-religious, semi-fanatical group, Hydra.
Hail Hydra!
That's just like, why are they doing this stuff? Oh, because they believe that like snake gods are gonna come. Like, what is going on? Like, they're insane, and I love them for it. And I love it. The stuff that Hickman brought into Secret Warriors. with like the Hydra heads of Hydra having like all these weird mutations and stuff, like Madam Hydra having like a Hydra octopus basically on her head,
right?
And like all these other guys are like semi mutated and stuff, and I was like, that is odd. Like I love that weirdness, because they're like very like Cthulhu-y weird, just like. These people, Marvel Universe has a lot of room for weirdness like that. And Marvel has proven to us with Guardians of the Galaxy, everything we've seen, they're willing to kind of push the envelope, because it's like they're fucking Groot and Rocket Raccoon are in that movie.
Oh, that movie's going to
be... I'm excited. Yeah. But it also shows that they're like not afraid to just fucking go full bore. Like, these are comic books. These are crazy characters. Just embrace them and love them. And people will. Yeah. And people already who didn't know anything about Rocket Raccoon and Groot are like... showing up at comic book stores and going, who are these guys? I see it on Tumblr all the time. Like, where are these guys coming from, and what is this? And so, like, they're building a lot of fans by doing the opposite of what DC was doing with the films, which is like, we're going to shy away from all the weird comic book stuff.
Which is
Marvel is just embracing it full on. So, yeah, I would love to see Hydra, the bosses of Hydra, with some weird fucking mutations going on.
And then also, there's some interesting news about the Constantine TV show that's going to be a thing.
Oh, yeah.
They just cast Harold Perrineau. Perrineau. Who's one of my favorite actors. He played Mercutio in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. He was on Lost before Lost became fucking stupid.
When was that? Because it was.
I'm trying to justify the hours I spent watching that show. Just let me have my dream.
You should have given up after season 1. Like
I should have given up. I should have never started to watch it. But
the Constantine show. So DC's been having some good luck with their TV shows lately.
And
like,
apparently this
really
is going to. They've just cast Chaz too as an actor from True Detective. I can't recall his name right now, but. The interesting thing is that it looks like they might actually be a little bit more. I actually really like the movie with Keanu Reeves. I think
me
Keanu
too.
Reeves does a great job.
I like the idea of the American John Constantine.
Yeah,
that's what he is in that. Like Delano wrote a Constantine that was very steeped in like the British tradition,
absolutely.
like the folklore and the ley lines and the paganism and stuff that was like. That is a part of and
British and
the
Celtic
British
mysticism.
And this the American John Constantine, the movie, is very steeped in like the Christian and Catholic and Puritan roots of especially even our pop culture, like movies like The Exorcist and things like that. He was very rooted in much more of our mysticism,
absolutely.
And so as Americans,
and that was a smart choice.
I liked it because if you're gonna cast Americans in the movie, you shouldn't make him British. Like I'm glad he didn't try to do a fake fucking British accent during that. I'm like, it's in jolly old London, and like, it would just been a nightmare.
I had zero. I was actually really pissed off, and then I saw it, and I was like, you know what? This is how you make a comic book adaptation, because really you don't just change this one thing, or you don't try and force it. You fucking just you change what you need to, and you make it your own.
And he was still a very good. He was still a good representation of what Constantine is all about.
Yeah.
And the casting in that movie was awesome.
Oh God,
it was fantastic.
And you know what?
We'll see how they do with this TV show. If it's anything like Arrow continues to gain viewers week to week, because the word of mouth has been really solid on it. I have yet to watch it. I hear that season 2 is really good.
I just don't. People are like, you should watch Arrow, and I'm like, why? Because it's good. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But why? You should still watch it. No, I don't want to watch it. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't care.
But all the other DC shows on TV have been so good, like Smallville and Birds of Prey.
Can we never, I watched Cade, who is a dear, dear, sweet man.
And we love him so much.
We love him dearly. But he was watching Smallville with Kirby, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is awful. This is like, if somebody came up to me and said, let's watch a show about Superman, I'm like, with you, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, guess what? He'll never wear the cape.
He doesn't wear the suit or the cape. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Also, he's a teenager growing up in Smallville. Okay.
Is he Superboy at least?
Okay.
Is he gonna...
Also, he doesn't use his powers. Also, it's going to focus on the least fucking interesting part of his life. It's like all this bullshit soap opera, drama, romance, bullshit. Lex Luthor is older than him. But I'm just like, okay, you know what? No, we're not going to watch that, and you never need to come over again. It's just, I just like, why do you do that? Let's tell a Superman story that has nothing to do with Superman.
I never made it past the first season. I tried to watch it when I was in college.
Second fucking episode. Maybe if I got really drunk and was talking shit through the whole thing, I could do it. But
what's the point though?
But like, Cade has a good, you know what? Cade has a good reason for watching. It's something he watched with his dad, and so I have that same stuff.
It's great, but
I mean, I love MacGyver. Who am I to fucking talk?
Well, and Matlock's one of my favorite shows ever.
Fucking Matlock is the shit.
But who, like for us, for you and me, like we don't get anything out of that. Like we would much rather watch. I mean, if we're gonna watch a show about teenagers, we're much gonna rather watch a show like Veronica Mars or something.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Interesting to our
and if you're gonna
our interest, it's detective fiction and it's like well shot and well told.
And if you want to tell a story about Smallville, then leave fucking Superman out of it. Like Gotham Central was a great example of telling a great story about Gotham without Batman in it.
Yeah,
like.
It's still a fucking crime that Birds of Prey ruined the Gotham Central show that we could have had.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to happen, and then after they got burned by Birds of Prey, which was fucking atrocious.
That's a shame, and that's...
They turned their back on a lot of that.
Yeah,
know? And
but,
so, oh well.
If they do a good job...
We'll see what happens with Constantine. I'm a huge Hellblazer fan.
I'm a fucking huge Hellblazer fan as
So,
well.
fingers crossed this is good. Yeah. Because I would love to watch a show about Constantine.
I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I think it'll be on basic cable. I don't think it'll be on a network. I think it'll be on like CW or something. Yeah, so... you'll have a fair amount of leeway with what you show and what you can say.
Well, and also the cool thing about Constantine isn't that he can like shoot fireballs and like fly through the air, because he doesn't do that. His magic is very subtle. It's very much in like that he's outsmarting them, and that doesn't take a lot of special effects.
Absolutely,
that takes good writing.
And that's where the disconnect will happen.
They can keep the budget low enough to like hire really great writers on there and just like tell really interesting stories. My fear is that it will become very overly dramatic.
Well,
like if he has lots of like, oh, I'm in love with this woman, and like it becomes very much like what we want, what apparently networks think we want to see on television. I think that it could easily turn into something that is not for me to watch.
Okay, so it is going to be. I guess it's going to be on NBC. So I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to do it, but. I agree. Like, I think that if you fucking just keep it simple and stay true to the character, you can tell some really interesting stories. But I also know it being NBC, it'll either suck and go and be canceled. It'll be good and be canceled.
Yeah.
Or it'll suck and go on for fucking 8 years. But
the hard thing about that is that there are hundreds of issues of Constantine, of Hellblazer. There are literally over 300 issues. Yeah. And, there are a lot of different iterations of Constantine. Like, I always talk about Delano's Constantine because that's the Constantine I fell in love with.
That's my favorite one.
There's Ellis's Constantine. There's Ennis's Constantine. There's Andy Diggle's.
Ennis.
There's Andy Diggle's Constantine, which I really like. And there's like a bunch of different guys that wrote Constantine that are great writers. And I've left out like a million. There's so many of them.
I mean, for me, Delano is...
Well, he started. I mean,
he's got that.
He was created by Alan Moore, but he didn't really come into his own until he left the Swamp Thing book and got his own book.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It was just different. But that's the other problem is, like, which one are they going to portray? Like, what are they going to do? There's a lot of landmines here for them to step over. But hopefully, we'll see. I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
And I mean, people love the X-Files, and that has, I think, a very similar feel with, like,
definitely
being dark and kind of creepy.
Well, it's also, like... Well, the cool thing about Constantine is it can very much... He's constantly running into people who are skeptics of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the same way that the X-Files worked, which is like, he's like, oh, yeah, I do magic. And they're like, show me a card trick. And he's like, not that kind of magic.
And we've also got David Goyer writing the first episode, which could be very good.
Yeah, he's like 50-50.
Yeah.
He did Batman Begins, which is one of my absolute favorite comic book movies of all time. Yeah. He also did Ang Lee's Hulk, which is one of my least favorite comic book movies of all time.
True.
So,
I mean, I know you didn't like Man of Steel. I really liked Man of Steel.
I don't like Man of Steel because that movie's ridiculous. I love one scene in Man of Steel. You are not alone. We will find him.
I really liked Man of Steel, but he also did Blade 2.
It's not okay. It's not terrible, but it's like it has so many problems that I can't take it seriously.
So it's also Daniel Serrain, who has done a few other things. He's
Well, Goyer knows a lot about comic books.
Yeah,
like he's really well known in the industry for being the guy that like adapts comic books. He's the one that worked with Chris Nolan in adapting Batman. Like he's well known, and Nolan went to him because Goyer was already at that point established for knowing stuff about comics. So
absolutely,
I should have some faith because he did. He has done some good stuff. So.
Well, and David Cerrone, who's also doing it with him, has directed The Descent, which was a decent horror movie.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one.
It's kind of creepy. It really is.
Scary.
It's about women that go caving, and very scary.
And I already don't like caves.
Yeah, no, it's creepy. But he also has directed
is there anyone
a few
that
episodes
actually
of Game
likes
of Thrones.
Caves?
Yeah, they're crazy people called spelunkers or cavers, and they're insane.
Okay.
They do this. They're not as insane as the people that do the underwater cave exploring.
Oh my god!
Where you have to like squeeze.
To be honest, like I feel a lot more like I would like that until it gets to the part where it's like, all right, take your oxygen tank off now
and
because
squeeze through this like 2-inch
tiny,
gap.
And you're like,
that's
nope,
like
nope,
oh god, I'm getting fucking.
Nope,
I can't even deal with it.
Nope.
I'm thinking about kittens now, and it's amazing.
Yeah. All right. You were gonna say, he directed Game of Thrones.
A couple episodes of Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones has been consistently good.
I stopped watching it, but
I'm gonna
watch it. I'm gonna watch it. At some point. I'm not opposed to watching it.
Yeah.
I just kind of lost track of it. I read the books too, way before.
I probably won't read the books. I just don't. I don't have it.
I read them way back when I was in high school, because there was no talk of this ever being a thing. But my parents' friends were like, "Oh, you like fantasy books, right?" Because I was reading all the Shannara books, and they were like, "You'd like these," and gave me these, and I was like, "Oh, these are really good." Like I really enjoyed them.
Oh, dude, it's right up your alley.
Yeah, it's totally right up my alley, and. Then when it became a show, I was like excited to watch it, but I realized is like I know what's gonna happen, so it's hard for me to sit through the episodes because it's like the tension doesn't really build for me.
Yeah,
because I already know. And so my friends that are like, I don't want to read the books until the show's done. I'm like, yeah, that's really smart because otherwise everything's gonna be spoiled for you.
Totally.
So, I don't know. I still think the show is like incredibly well made, and that opening theme and that opening sequence. Oh my god, I love that.
Amazing.
It's fantastically animated. So cool. Well, hopefully the Constantine stuff works out.
I'm hopeful for it. Cool. I'd like to see it work out. I mean, I don't know that I'm hopeful, but I would love a solid Constantine show.
Well, we've got a lot of comic book shows coming out soon. I mean, with all the Netflix shows and with the Agent Carter, the other Marvel show.
Yeah,
which I just learned about today, but I'm sure
the new Gotham show I think is gonna. I can't seem to figure out if it's gonna be a prequel or if they're using it as a lead-in for this crappy new Superman Batman movie that's happening.
You liked Man of Steel. It's gonna be exactly the same as that.
No, it's gonna be 1,000 times worse. It's already a clusterfuck.
How do you think it's gonna be a clusterfuck?
Because they've already got too many characters in it.
Okay, but these are characters that are announced like the. These could be in the background. They could be everything that we love about the DC universe, which is like the Flash runs by in like one scene and like shows up and stops a bad guy, and they're like, "Oh, what's up, Flash?"
That's
and they're
guy.
like, "Oh yeah, that's our friend, the Flash."
I guess
and
I'm just not
like just having a lot of villains in a thing like doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna, or like a lot lot of characters in a thing doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be immediately bad. But it just has the potential to be immediately bad. But if you liked the creative team if you liked the end result of that same creative team
Batman
with Man
Begins,
of Steel,
too.
Yeah,
I guess it's because I've been down this road before. I did like Batman Begins.
We have all been down this road as comic
and the
fans.
thing is that it's not just that I feel like they're kind of overburdening it by trying to cram a bunch of people that they don't want to give their own movies to into it. It's I don't see Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I know Jeremy Irons is a great actor.
That's true.
I don't doubt his ability to play the role.
Yeah.
I just I'm like, no, that's totally the wrong.
You liked
I think he's a
Michael
lead.
Caine.
I mean, I liked Michael Caine okay. I still don't think that he was Alfred because
dude, the Alfred from the Tim Burton
is perfect.
Is one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, he's perfect. And the thing is
in Batman and Robin, my favorite scene is when he's like, Master Grayson stole the car. And he's like, what, the Bentley? And he's like, the other car, sir. The Mercedes? And he's like, the other car. Like, that, it's just like so fucking ridiculous of a scene. But I love it. But no, I mean, like, Jeremy Irons as Alfred is a lot closer to, like, what I saw in the Earth 1 Batman graphic novel Alfred, which everybody hated that Alfred, and I was like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, but
that was the least of the problems with that book.
Yeah, the thing that really killed me though was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
It's not even Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor. It's Lex Luthor being like a street punk.
Well, I went back
punk?
and read a little bit about this, and apparently he's not going to be a street tough. He was a street tough, and who built himself up. And I just think that's ridiculous. Like, I don't think
I liked Luthor as like the young, spoiled rich kid who takes over his dad's industry and turns it into like something fucking horrible.
I like Luthor. I don't think he needs an origin story. You put him as a fucking
I love Luthor's origin stories.
I think, but the thing is I think
Birthright, Mark Waid, Birthright, fantastic.
Which is a good one, but it's been fucking how many times has it been rewritten since then?
I'm just saying, like, that you can do interesting things with Luthor's origin. What I really like is like him taking over his dad's company that could have been used for something good, like growing food for poor, whatever, like poor people, and like trying to make the world a better place. And then Luthor, this dick kid, comes in and takes over and turns it into like weapons manufacturing. And,
exactly.
Now we're gonna get government contracts and kill everyone, and working in secret with Cadmus Labs to steal technology from Wayne Tech and Star Labs and Chord Industries. And it's like that's the Luthor I like. I like him as like conniving evil businessman. I
have to say that my personal favorite Luthor is probably from All-Star Superman, where he's like, I have spent my entire life being the paramount of a human being. I have amassed a fortune. I have mastered the business world. I am in fucking like
he's crazy intelligent.
Condition. I am super smart. And yet Superman gets all the fucking... Superman, who has not had to work for the powers he has because they're inherent to him, gets all this praise. And I really
like that motivation of him as an antagonist to Superman. But I don't think those two are mutually exclusive.
No, and I don't think so either. I think
it is weird to have him be like, I'm from, I'm from the gutters. I'm still, I'm still down on the level of everybody.
I don't care for that at all.
It's weird. I like him as aloof and kind of insane.
And I don't like I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff. I guess maybe it won't be a clusterfuck, but from what I hear, it probably will be. Yeah. What I hear from what they're doing, the whole like Batman's going to be a fucking like mentor to Superman.
That's how it is in the New 52. Like if you're reading Batman and Superman, which isn't awful, but like Batman is a bit older than Clark,
and that's probably why they want them to do it. But I think that the smartest thing that Marvel has done with their movies is set them in their own universe.
No, I agree.
And I think that gives leeway. I think that...
Well, and also, honestly, like, you could not have asked for a better business model than the Marvel solution. Like, it makes sense. You make movies about each of the characters that are going to be in the movie.
And then you put them together.
Yeah. Like, to be fair, they didn't do it for everyone. Like, Hawkeye but they showed up in other people's movies first.
And the thing
right?
is that by the time you get there, Hawkeye is the only new character you're being introduced to.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that movie work.
No, he's in Thor 2.
Oh, he's in
Thor, the first Thor.
He's in the Thor movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when Thor goes to steal the hammer back, Hawkeye is there, protecting Coulson in the government facility.
All right.
Hawkeye's introduced in Thor.
Yet, so...
You haven't seen the first Thor?
I'm waiting to watch it with Kirby.
God damn it.
I'm waiting to watch it with my girlfriend.
So in the first Thor, Hawkeye's in there. In the second Iron Man, Black Widow's introduced.
Right.
So like these characters have all been introduced pre
which is why the Avengers works.
And even the villain had been introduced before.
Yeah. And that's why Justice League is not going to work because they want to do it in 3 films and it's not going to work.
I agree.
And they're going to ignore everything that makes the characters interesting and they're going to try and make them grim and gritty and like realistic and they're all going to break and you know what? That's just the way it is. And
maybe DC can do what it used to do, which is find its success on television. Yeah. Because it used to have an amazing animated presence.
And I will say this.
And the new toys for the new Batman show, which I have yet to watch, but they look sweet. So I'm like kind of interested in this new.
Which one?
It's called.
Is it Beware the Batman?
Yeah.
That's already been canceled.
Really?
Yeah, it's already been canceled. I'm almost positive.
I just saw the toys like a month ago, like not even a month ago, and I was like, these look cool.
The best thing now that I kind of want to, we saw this gift the other day, and I showed it to Chard. It's It's from War. It's from DC
War.
And it's like Hal Jordan gets hit by, he's like, I'm going to take out, he's fighting Darkseid. He's like, I'm going to fight Darkseid. And Darkseid punches him.
And then
he lands. And then these two fucking parademons just appear out of like, they just kind of jump in and start beating on him.
Beating the shit out. And I found a gif that is just them punching him infinitely. It's just him laying on the ground and them just punching him, like pummeling him repeatedly.
I love it. I love it. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
1,000 times that, please.
Yeah. Hopefully the DC TV show presence like continues to grow, even though their movie presence sucks bad dick.
Yeah,
and hasn't been good since Batman Begins. So there we go.
That's it. So
that's everything we wanted to talk about this week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed these episodes. We're just gonna we're not gonna like set ourselves to a weekly schedule or anything. We're just gonna, if there's news stories we want to talk about, if there's comics that came out that we want to talk about, this will give us an opportunity to kind of talk about them not on our other shows.
Podcast, and just kind of check in.
And we'll have some of our friends on the show that aren't really, don't really have the time to keep up with our weekly reading schedule.
A whole new lineup of wacky characters.
Many, many guests will be on the show, hopefully. So I've already got a bunch of people lined up. I'm very excited.
I've got a couple people lined up myself, actually.
Well, they can't be on the show.
Oh, well, then I'm leaving. And I'm taking this pop
filter.
This
is the last episode of this new series, then. First and last. All right.
We're done.
Fuck you, Joe. Podcast canceled. All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our show, everybody. Special thanks to theouthousers.com for posting our episodes. You can always keep up to date with everything we're doing by checking out our website at viewfromthegutters.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel as we post new videos every week. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at ViewFRTHGutters, and please be sure to leave us an iTunes review, as it really does help new listeners find the show. And thanks again for listening, and as always, keep reading.